All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again to the Everybody Wants to Know podcast, Pop Shop's premier podcast where we talk about everything going on in the world of live events, event technology, and often quite a bit more beyond that as well. Joining us as usual is Eitan. How we doing, man?
The summer edition.
Yeah,
I call
that's
it.
right. Yeah, we took a little break there the past few weeks. Right?
You took a break. I keep working. I don't know what he was
so?
doing. Probably AI was working for him. Yeah. No, there's no break when you have 5 kids in the summer. In fact, some can say it's more work than normal. No, great. Summer started. Took a road trip.
How was that? Right, you drove cross country to bring your car home, spending some time home in Jersey, right?
It was amazing. Actually, I took the boys. We drove down to San Antonio for what everyone knows was Game 5. And ultimately, probably the smartest spend I've ever spent on tickets. Because I was like, when they were down 14, I was like, oh man, it's going to Game 6. I spent all this money. We had great seats. In fact, everyone was a Knicks fan next to us. And by the way, John's agenda was, as I mentioned, the Knicks was like, bottom of the, I already forgot that the world champions. Got this for Father's Day, so to prove it.
Nice.
But no, it was an amazing experience. I had to pay one of my kids not to go to the game. I gave him $1,000 not to go to the game.
Really?
Bribed them. Because it was almost impossible getting 3 tickets together. And with kids, you can't really separate the experience. So I got to go with my other son, who's a real Knicks fan. I think it'll be a lifetime experience for him. I don't think he'll ever forget that. I won't, but it was incredible. We, at the end of the game, it was so wild. Then one of the guys, a Knicks fan, was like, hey, I got passes to the floor. Can I take your son? I was like, yeah, take him. Second later, I was like, well, shit, where's he taking him? But he grabbed him, took him all the way to the court. My son started taking selfies with some of the players and whatnot. It was incredible. So just for that, it was worth the road trip. And then I went downhill from there. Went out to Oklahoma, tried to cut through the country, tornadoes, trees everywhere. But we made it to Jersey safely, I might say. And been there for a few weeks now for the summer.
Very nice.
I'm back here for a couple of days just to catch up, make sure it was working. Make sure you guys are still here,
We are, yeah.
Yeah. So that's and obviously we were in San Antonio. People were like, oh, you planned to went to Game 5. No, we went there for HITEC. That was the reason. Full disclosure. So if my accountant sees some of the expenses, it's all work related.
Gotcha.
But yeah, we went to HITEC. We had a great show, and it's becoming a mini industry vertical for us. Some of the shows that we go in our industry, like the Exhibitor Live, the Expo, you see the same people. So HITEC and that vertical is becoming a mini industry for us. When we see the same people, we have industry partners, a lot of the same groups of people you're going to interact with during a project. So same vertical. So it was great. We rubbed some elbows with some of our peers, and we had a great time. San Antonio is a great town. It could get hot, upper 90s, but it's a great town to spend a few days for sure.
It's just a fun town to even just walk around, like the Riverwalk and all that too. It's a cool sightseeing place. I've only been there once myself, but had a great time when I was there.
It is. The Riverwalk, even if you've done them 100 times, you're always going to find another corner that you've never been to.
Mm-hmm.
My son remembers from 2 years ago, we were there for, I want to say Exhibitor Live maybe, something like that.
Yeah.
I think it was Exhibitor Live. And there's a guy on TikTok, he's the bush guy.
Mm-hmm.
He jumps out of nowhere. It's in San Antonio, it's on the Riverwalk. That's what he does. So 2 years ago, we're walking, me, my son, my daughter, and the guy just pops up. But I saw him, so I didn't want to ruin the surprise. I wanted my kids to and my kids were not impressed by him. But anyway, we were back this time, and my son's like, oh, this time I'm going to find him in advance. I'm going to tackle him something, Of course, the New Jerseyan came out of him. But no, great town, great food scene. I've been going to the same same restaurants that I know. The Alamo is being renovated, so it's more challenging to go that area recently, but still they're doing some great job. Next to the Hilton, they have a new property, and they expanded the entire area with restaurants, outdoor. So, yeah, definitely we'll be back in San Antonio.
Nice.
Next year for the playoffs again. Maybe not. Maybe not. With all the trades that are happening in the NBA, I don't know what's going to happen next year. So no predictions anymore. But if everyone remembers, I said Knicks in 4 against Cleveland. Came back and said they're going to get killed. And I said, wait a second. I think they might have a chance here. And I think every Knicks fan was kind of on the same train that I was. They're like, is it real? Is it the year? It felt really special after Game 4 when they came back. We were in the car driving to San Antonio, and my son was in the back, commentating every move. And I'm driving. I swear to God, when they came back within 5, I almost got into a car accident. It was insane. I couldn't believe, I had to, we checked in that night to the hotel, and I kept hitting ESPN replay to see, did they actually win? So, but again, being there in Game 5, under the fact that I told my son months before, hey, we have a trade show, we'll be in San Antonio. If it happens, we'll go to one of the games. Never in my life, in my wildest dream, I thought the Knicks were going to end up there, and it was going to end up, but again, we got lucky. It was a great experience, something I'll cherish for the rest of my life for sure.
Very cool.
And I think another 50 years, so it will be the rest of my life. So, that happens that way, but
now does I don't follow basketball too closely. I know like I follow other sports like baseball and stuff. Does basketball do the same thing that happens in baseball, where when a team wins like the World Series or the NBA championship, where they kind of sell off all the high value players? Are we expecting that to happen with the Knicks? Or do you think they're going to stay strong going into?
They do. Yeah, you're absolutely right. They do normally. I mean, if you look at dynasties and some of the teams that went to win a few in a row, they kept their players, and that was the common thing that helped them win back-to-back, or even the Jordan era, where they won the first 3. It was pretty much the same team. They kind of changed some things over the summer. He left. They came back. The 3 next championship was pretty much the same team. A couple of role players changed, but the core was the same. With the Knicks, one of the advantages they have, and nobody talks about it enough, is that a lot of the salary cap is very low. Players like Bronson, I hear Cat is going to take a cut to have Robinson stay. They really care about each other. 3 of those players, and obviously there was one, what's his name? They went to, I want to say, not Memphis, Minnesota. Anyway, there was a 4th player in Villanova, but 3 of them played together in college, so they're very close. So they want to stay together. I think that's something that shows in the way they play, the way they come back. I don't want to make it a basketball podcast, but this is,
it's okay. We've only been 10 minutes.
You have no idea what it means to people in New York that for 28 years, you go to games and disappointment. I moved to this country, and the Knicks made it to the finals in '99. So I moved to '98. The next year, they're in the finals. Like, oh, we have a great team. They're in the finals already. Not knowing we're not going to see that for all those years. So you can imagine disappointment. You expected the Yankees always to be there, even the Giants. But with the Knicks, you're like, oh, James Dolan, this and that. But so they do have a chance for another year if they stay together to make a run for it. They can make some improvements, role players and whatnot, but I think the NBA is going to the West is going to get really tough. You see some of the trades that are happening. I mean, Kawhi now is in Toronto, so it makes it easier, but Portland, if they get a good vibe and good combo, they can go and make a run. So Wemby's going to be there next year. That's what I was telling Spurs fans. They were so mad. I said, don't be mad. You got 10 years that you're going to make it to either the finals or Western Conference. You're going to be competing. And I got to say, compared to what you saw in New York with the Knicks fans, the Spurs fans were incredible. The hospitality level, people, and I went with the kids, so people are nicer.
Yeah.
It was an incredible experience. In the hotel, in the lobby, people, there's the back and forth, but nothing like we saw in New York. So enough about that until next year. We got to focus now on baseball. The Yankees are on a 4 games kit, but you know, I think that the biggest events happening in the world right now is FIFA World Cup, you know, which leads us to some of the stuff that we do, obviously.
Of course.
So yeah, it's been incredible. You know, we work mostly through agencies for a lot of the events we do for FIFA, whether it's kiosk activation with AI, LEDs, posters, whatnot. It's been a very busy summer. In fact, I posted something on LinkedIn today how busy we are and all the things that are going on that you normally would be sitting back waiting for September, whatnot. So we do expect the summer to be to continue to be busy. And a lot of good things, yeah.
Yeah. There was, while we were kind of on our little podcast hiatus for the past few weeks, there was another big event that happened too for our industry, specifically InfoComm.
That's right.
In terms of just like display technology and event technology in general. A lot of stuff being shown off there. It's a very noisy show in terms of the amount of like product launches and things that are going on. I noticed this year they actually changed the format a little bit, and they did almost like what like E3 used to do for the video game industry, where they do like a dedicated media day beforehand, did a whole like live stream and everything like that, showing off the specific high-end products from like the big boys like Sony and everything like that. I thought that was a nice change to kind of like focus in on that noise a little bit more and kind of give some of those bigger exhibitors a chance to like show off their stuff, even some of the smaller exhibitors too, and then open up the floor that following day to everyone, basically.
Yeah, I thought it was a great change. You know, InfoComm is a show I had a beef with, you know, in the last few years, and we don't exhibit there anymore because I think they took advantage of the small vendors and they started charging this ridiculous fees over everything you try. You sneeze and you pay something. So, but aside from that, and the way they, you know, people will vote with their, you know, with their attendance level, and exhibitors will vote with their, you know, spending.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I think they had a great showing this year. I think one of the things I appreciate about having that media day is kind of setting up the tone for people to come in and what to focus on.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's helpful with a big show like that. I still think that the premier show, you know, ISE in Europe is much more direct to, you know, integrators, B2B, very focused, very educational. If you went to ISE in Barcelona, you'll see that every hall has a category. So if you're interested in audio, you go into that hall. If you're interested in LEDs, you go into that and so forth, which I really appreciate. What InfoComm did for many years, you know, you have the big boys in the front, you know, and that's where most traffic gets stuck, and everyone around them just, you know, kind of lingers over time. You would hope someone stops in your booth, and if you have a good product, people will stop, but it takes a few days, and that's, I think they changed that a little bit. Mm-hmm. Any big show, not just InfoComm specifically, has to have that vertical categorization. So if you're an attendee and you're just looking for something, there's no reason for you to walk for 2 days until you find that thing.
Yeah. You have to wander to find what you're looking for.
Right, and obviously that's when we come in. We have these kiosks, we can categorize it. In fact, our map, you can actually create your journey on the map, on the wayfinding, based on the categories and things you want to see. It will spit out like your journey and show you where to walk. You know, so I think these tools are needed. So I think overall, these industry shows are very helpful. Do I think that 100% of what they're showing is going to get to market? No. I think it's more 15, 20%, you know. And our job as integrators, as providers, suppliers, is to find that 20%. Otherwise, you're spending money on things that will never hit the market, you know. Very cool things, but people are sending me videos, have you seen this? I say, okay, how do you use it at your exhibit? Mm-hmm. Show me how you use it for more than one time, not one time to kind of, you know, show me how you use it, and then I'll tell you it's a good product. So
talking about like the moving LED panels,
moving
and
LEDs,
like stuff like that. Yeah.
Listen, behind the scene, people know the time it takes to put that together and configure and set up a wall like that, connect wall, all these, they're cool, and I don't disagree. There, you know, it might be a good investment if you're trying to kind of showcase something specifically, but they're not like a longevity product that you're going to take from show to show. So, in my opinion, again, if you find the 15, 20% product that you're going to always stick with, I think it narrows down this year. The biggest focus was the translucents, holographic, holofans, that vertical has gone from like 0 to 60. The pixel pitch has come down. We've had some vendors that we work with like 1.5 pixel pitch on holographic solutions. We've had some back-to-back solution. We have here some examples of what we like to use. I mean, some of it called the digital posters with the translucent, which it is, but if you take these sides, it becomes just an LED wall that you can just rig and hang and whatnot. And these are becoming very popular. Designers dictate what will be at an exhibit booth, right?
Yeah.
And when you talk to the designers, they're excited about this product. There's some kind of a wow factor to this without the crazy cost, complexity of installation that I think makes this product very, very cool, and it will be very popular in the next year or two for sure.
The thing that I really like about the translucent solutions as well is because it's kind of a best of both worlds scenario, where for people who like want the display, want the big wow factor, but also want like a more open space,
Sure.
especially for like exhibit booths and whatnot. And the first generation of solutions that looked more like kind of like the slatted screen doors to an extent, I could see why the designers might have not wanted to go for that because of like too much spacing in between it. But this new generation, like that screen you just showed off there to the side, where it is more of like an actual matrix, a grid, a lot more taut, a lot less kind of negative space to see through and things
Sure.
like that. I think that's where we're really going to start seeing people integrate that en masse, is that type of solution where, yeah, we have these displays one up, but you can still see through, see into our space. It's still like a nice welcoming way to bring people in, basically.
And I think adding to that, we'll roll like the 1.5 that we have here on the side as we were talking about it. But adding, there's 2 points you have to also remember. It's much lighter than regular LEDs. And because of that, it affects your material handling, it affects your rigging cost, and it gives you almost the same value as LEDs. So the question is, what's going to happen with LEDs? Well, we know LEDs went from 2.9, 2.6, 1.9, 1.5, and they keep going to the fine pitch category. And translucents and holographics, holofans are going to take the spot of the 2.9 and 3.9 and just give the option of something lightweight, easy to install. And even from a motorized solution, if you wanted to make something like that move around, it's much easier than a big LED, bulky LED. So I think that's going to be a new gen and more of the common things you're going to see. And by the way, on the new ones, on the holographic one, you can set up the transparent level. So if you do want to hide more of the back, so you can put it, and something in the back might not be appealing to show, you could actually mess around with the transparent level and make it more on the dark side and just install like an LED wall. So I think you're going to see a lot of that coming up. Some of the things that InfoComm brings is conversations between integrators, B2B, suppliers, designers, about the challenges and about what's coming up next. And that's when you see the new products evolving. We literally featured a new product at HITEC that was a part of a challenge for some of the properties and the venues we work with. And we came up with the product and the solution based on the conversation that happened at a trade show floor, right? It's not like one day I woke up and be like, whoa, what am I going to do today? Oh, let me come up with a new product. No, it's a need. And a lot of the needs in our industry and necessities are coming from conversations like that. And for that, I think shows like InfoComms are important, But take care of the small guy. Take care of the exhibitors that are trying to break through and give them a chance. Because if not, there's a show, I don't know if you remember, nobody almost, they had to tie up with another show called LDI. There was a show called DSE, Digital Signage Expo. It was a great show. On the educational stuff, they were amazing. I used to go, I was part of the membership and all that, and they are pretty much a dead show because they did what InfoComm is doing more. So we love InfoComm, we wanted to stay. I think the feedback is well deserved for any big show. We want to attract more, continuity and new innovation and conversation for sure.
Perfect. All right, folks, so I think that wraps things up for this episode. We want to thank you guys so much for joining us here once again. Be sure to follow our channels here, as well as more episodes, of course, coming on a weekly basis in the future, whether it's LinkedIn or here on our YouTube channel. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.